She was, and that's it. That's the. I mean, like, I can't. It's so impossible to say what is okay. Thank you for joining us as we continue our drive home. I am grateful to our sponsors who make these conversations possible. We want to say hello to our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar for your source for solar in Illinois. Make an appointment with them to come on out and have a conversation about putting solar panels on your house. Save money, be environmentally mindful, and we're looking forward to having conversations with Peter and Warren in the weeks to come. And again, grateful for their sponsorship and Monaco Brewing Company. A lot of things going on at the Madison Tap Room. He's going to start having meetings there with all kinds of organizations throughout the Madison and Wisconsin area, including the indivisible groups. They're going to be training folks on how to document when you start to encounter the situations, whether you are a federal employee who is being dismissed. I think, as Joan's last guest was saying, that these cuts to Medicaid are coming. I think that documenting, and that can be anything from videotaping somebody who is denying, if you're in the office or wherever you feel comfortable doing it. But also, I know it's hard for people to turn the camera on themselves. I know we see all these people putting up videos and, maybe filming themselves in their bathroom mirrors, or a lot of people in their cars. When you feel comfortable, and if you are in a situation, I think this is the documentation that we need to be doing, not only to make sure that these stories are being captured and amplified, but also to make sure that we are helping people not feel alone. I think is also the value in documenting your own experiences. Again, when you feel safe, and Kirk will be having training sessions on that, so hopefully we'll be able to put some of that online as well. Let me see right here. I know that I want to be very honest about how I come to these shows. I don't when I film for other hosts, I'm like, man, they put a lot of prep and thought into what they're going to do. I work all day. I follow some of the stories. I have news on in the background, things like that. And I've always been a little bit opinionated. I think that that's not a surprise to anybody. But I come from my own experience, things that I've learned along the way, and I occasionally will hesitate to say what I think is really what I believe is happening, or I feel like something's happening. And that's why when I heard that President Zelensky and Donald Trump had made this agreement about the mineral rights, that he was coming to the White House, I swear to God, I thought, well, this is not going to go well. And I didn't necessarily have the idea. Part of me wondered if it was kind of an ambush, kind of a setup. And I was standing in my kitchen today. My husband was talking about something, and I said, well, hold on a second, something's happening. And I heard the news breaking, and that exchange was just horrifying. I know a lot of us, but it's not surprising. Like, that's kind of what I thought might happen. I keep coming into these moments in history that we are experiencing in real time, and somehow I have this disbelief. It feels surreal. It feels like we're on the brink of something beyond catastrophic. I don't even have the words to describe what we saw unfold in the White House today with you're not thankful enough. So you haven't even said thank you. And Zelensky, you don't need to raise your voice to me. And there was another element that sort of spoke to me, I guess, from personal experience of abusers. Like, that was what it felt like to me, was this: you're a terrible person, you're doing terrible things, we were trying to help you, and shame on you. And this idea that, well, what did Vance say? Something about you can't litigate this in the press in front of the American people. Like, Zelensky was invited to the White House to negotiate this deal. And the craptastic exchange, it was just unbelievable to me. The tone, the all of it, right? We saw in the last few days where Trump had these other leaders, whether it was the UK or France, and I agree with, I think, Joan and some of the folks that were talking about during her show, that I think that they were worried either he couldn't handle himself, or they, Peter Thiel probably coached Vance on what to do in that moment. And I think what a lot of folks are talking about, I know Professor Joel Austin was talking about this that this is not, we are no longer in a democracy. And that by aligning our country, because we are, it's not, that's what's so hard, is that we have to say we are doing this. We are now aligned with Russia. And that was, I believe, the goal. I don't know how long, but when you have these billionaires, these oligarchs, like they have in Russia, I honestly, I don't know how long the oligarchs in Russia are going to put up with Putin, because now this deal is done for them possibly too. Now, now Europe comes in, and they're the ones that have Ukraine's back. They're the ones that are pushing back against these violent invasions by the Russians, and they're losing hundreds of thousands, nearly 1 million Russians. How long is Russia and how long are the oligarchs going to allow Putin to do this? How long before he eats something that doesn't agree with his system? And the fact that the Republicans, for the most part, I know there are a few that are saying, that are pushing back against what Donald did in the Oval Office today, but they don't think our democracy should exist anymore. And I want to thank the listener who a few weeks ago clued me in about basically a blogger named Curtis Yarvin, a former computer software engineer or something, who has been developing this theory that democracy is broken from the inside. We need to destroy it. I mean, this is what Project 2025 is intended to do, is to blow up the government from the inside. Everything that Elon Musk is doing is the directives of the Heritage Foundation, and are the directives of the Heritage Foundation, who want to disrupt everything. They've called it the revolution, the next revolution. And remember, toward the end of the campaign, that one of them said, this will be a bloodless revolution if the liberals allow it. They want us to roll over. They want us to be scared. They want us to be broke. They want us to be dependent on the system that they design, that is intended to just simplify the fact that we only exist to serve the oligarchs. Our labor, our blood, sweat, and tears is only intended to continue to pad the wallets of the uber wealthy. And that is part of what I believe we saw in the Oval Office today. And that's why I started this conversation. There are certain topics that people will call in, and there's this guy who Gip Galish. Gip Galish. What was the word that Paul used from Seattle, that he said all these things about Ukraine and threw in things that like sounded like it legitimized it, and he said so many things that I couldn't grab at anything until he started really clearly sharing lies about Ukraine that I had to make it stop. But I often find myself in conversations where I feel clumsy, in the sense that this isn't my area of expertise. So when I get caught up and have somebody sharing these lies and reinforcing the notion that we are in the wrong in supporting Ukraine when they were invaded, and that it's not even like gaslighting over the last week isn't even strong enough, where Trump was spouting the Russian propaganda that Ukraine was the aggressor. And he called Zelensky a dictator last week, and then tried to yesterday say, I didn't say that. Did I say that? Like, what are we doing here? None of this makes any sense. But this is entirely, I believe, designed now by the fact that people like Curtis Yarvin have the ears and the access to Vance, to Musk, that they believe that this should just be run. This country is not a democracy. They don't believe that it should be, that we should not have our voices heard, that we should not have access to our electeds to reflect. And look, and it has been hard, right? We have in the last 20 years had people who lead through retaliation, through punishment, that they don't represent everybody, that if they're a Republican and they won, then they only have to serve the conservatives. And I have to agree with, there was so many emotions for me today that I have to agree with. I think it was Professor Joe Ostro who said that Democrats have been giving themselves over to the billionaires, that Bernie Sanders ran on. We need to take the uber wealthy out of the equation. We need populist economics. And it has to be something that is based on the fact that Americans, what we believe in is our freedoms, rights, and the opportunity to succeed to the best that we can in a system that serves us and not the billionaires. And listening to Joan read off all of the statements by leaders around the world. And if you weren't absolutely gobsmacked, jaw-dropping, all the words. My heart was hurting when I heard all the leaders around the world saying they stand with Ukraine, how appalled they were. And I don't know why, and I guess it's because, I am of Irish and Mexican descent. I don't know what it is about hearing Ireland and Mexico and just hearing what they have to say, that my ancestors fled from Ireland because of the extreme poverty, because the monarchy had choked off access to opportunity in Ireland for those who were Catholic. And my family in the late 1800s had to flee and chose Chicago, came here as a place of opportunity and possibility, and that this was where they saw their futures, where my ancestors could come here and work hard and make their way through the poverty and the grief, that my mother decided to come here from Mexico City because she saw the United States as a place where, as a woman, she had more opportunities, had the possibility of pursuing her dreams. It's really hard to know that these are amongst all the countries that are no longer in our corner at all, because we had been in everyone's corner, and they are choosing, they are forced by what happened today to stand against us. That's what happened today. And I guess I just, the full weight of that was sort of hitting me today, because I am only first generation Mexican American. I am second generation Irish American. And this has always been the place that people look to as promise, as of hope, of future. And I know that the reasons that we've heard over the last weeks, months, years as to why Democrats have lost the working class, because we don't promise anything. We don't promise what we're going to, I laughed yesterday at this woman who said she knew that the rapist and convict was a liar, but she voted for him because he promised he would make IVF free. And not only is that not happening, but she's a federal worker who lost her job. And because he promised that, and I honestly explain, nobody has to explain it to me, because we don't want to litigate the election, but there were promises from the Democrats when it came to housing, when it came to opportunity, but we didn't point. I guess the part that lacks is that we didn't point to whose fault it was that you don't have those things, and we need to say it. It is the conservatives, and they have been working towards this since Reagan, since Nixon. That's why they have bought all the media. They have been pounding these messages of it's women's fault because they want to go to work, they want to have autonomy over their families and their bodies. It's the people of color who are getting jobs that they don't deserve, because certainly unqualified white people deserve to be at higher levels of our of service, whether it's in the military or in our government or on a plane or at a corporation. It's their fault. It's our fault that you don't have what you think, and it's not the fault of the billionaires and the uber wealthy whose wealth has grown exponentially. In Illinois alone, since 1979, the wealth of the uber wealthy has gone up over 110% in Illinois, and for the working class, it has gone up less than 10%. But no, by all means, it's because of women. It's because of people of color. It's not because your rights, your protections have been robbed by the Republicans. And Reagan had so much to do with where we are right now. And everybody who believes that, this isn't, Reagan wouldn't be accepted by the Republicans. No, but he planted the seed. And here we are being crushed by the weight of this mammoth monster that is in the White House. Let's take a break here and take your calls when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Stephanie Miller.
I've gotten more mail than I've ever gotten in my entire life, because a lot of people have a lot to share and they can't always make it on the phone lines, or they're nervous. And trust me, whatever you're going through, me too, all of us, wherever you are in your timeline, drunk, sad, scared, angry, right there with you. Thank you for people saying they're not listening to anybody but me. I think that's a good plan, because I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
Stephanie Miller, weekday mornings 8 to 11 on WCPT 820. WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk and
Or
Pete.
Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
I had to walk out of the studio and take a lap around the station because what is happening? All right, Jim, I'm going to have you kick it off. Okay, Jim, as Joan said, let's both take a couple deep breaths. Take a deep breath. Hi, Jim. How are you hydrating?
Hydrating, yeah, with a fifth of tequila. That's what I'm hydrating. But I had the misery of, I just happened through Providence and most of it. I said, I'm going to turn on the news, and I catch this debacle.
Yeah.
But Joel Astro is right. I grew up, Patty, with a bunch of radicals, political radicals. I mean, real radicals. I'm up in Wisconsin. We were in Washington, D.C., 350,000 of us. There was no internet. There was nothing. We just showed up there just through osmosis. We knew we had to show up there. Yeah. And Joel's right. We have to show up. The radicals in America have to show up. Trump keeps talking about the radicals, that they have to be pushed down and pushed aside. I disagree. I think it's time for the radicals to jump up and start being radical, because that's what we need to take on these. Let's face it, we're facing some billionaires that think they're going to take over the world.
Yes.
Through technology and AI and all this other nonsense. They think they're going to take over the world with it. And they're going to make, and as Joel Ashburn said, zombies. You're going to make zombies out of it. We got enough zombies already through technology. I run into them every day. Yeah. The point is to get out of the zombie business and get into the radical business and just go berserk, because this is beyond. It's completely out of. It's not even any control on it. The man's insane. That ventriloquist for Peter Thiel is in there, trying to coach him on different things. To Zelensky, of all people, who's fought the Russians off for 3 years now? 3 long years, with his countrymen dying to and fro all over the country, and the people that left the country. I mean, do you think we're that mad? We're going to listen to that insanity? No, I don't think that's going to happen. And Patty, I mean, this has just gone too far. And not only that, but Reagan was the first television president. I mean, he was in Death Valley days. And I told you, his first wife divorced him because he was so in love with his image that he sat in a room in Kings Row over and over and over again. I mean, days on end. And she couldn't take it anymore, so she divorced him. But Trump is the same thing. You see what he said, this is TV. How am I going to look on TV? Yep. How am I going to look on TV? I mean, he's so in love with that mug of his that it's unbelievable. I've never seen an individual so in love with himself like he is. And not only that, but think of it, everything is about money. Human beings don't mean a thing to him. The only thing that matters to him is money. Well, we gave you money. We gave you money, so you're supposed to be grateful. You gave it. That's like going by a homeless person, give him $50 and go, every time you see the homeless, hey, you should be grateful to me. You should be grateful.
That was nuts. I know. You should. You. I mean, like I was surprised they didn't say get down and kiss our feet.
Because you gave us money.
Yeah. That was astounding to me. Like, what the frickin' frack? Like, and it seemed like if he did say, and he did say, that I'm thankful, and that wasn't enough for them. Like that's what I was saying about how it reminded me of being with an emotional abuser. Like it doesn't matter. You're just there to be punished.
Well, you know, he's abused. Think about it. If he's such a handsome-looking devil that he think he is, why did he have to molest the women that he molested? Mm-hmm. I mean, Trump molested more women than anybody on the planet. But if he's so alluring to the opposite sex, why does he have to molest them?
Because you can just grab them. You can just grab them by the what was the word? I can't say that word. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, is that
he is one.
That's not exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, but that's not exactly what Don Juan would do. At least Don Juan would allure the woman, through some charm. This guy would physically molest these people.
Yeah,
anyway, but I mean, today is just another miserable day, and we got to fight through the weekend because the misery just continues. And if you think you're getting the intelligence response on television or the internet or anywhere else, you're nuts because there isn't any. I contend that the intellectuals have been drowned. In some way, they've been drowned, and we are with a country of zombies. We're in a country of zombies. Anyway, Patty, you have a great week. That was absolutely repulsive. Yep. He's repulsive. And the way he uses his hands, he sits low in the chair, and he like a pantomime artist. It was
surreal.
Repulsive. He's so repulsive, it's beyond belief.
Yep. Thanks,
Jim.
Thanks,
Patty.
Thanks, Jim. Let's get to Dave in Hoffman Estates. Dave, are you hydrating?
Yes, I'm well.
Thanks.
And you're talking about those leaders and such. What did Netanyahu say?
What was that? What did Netanyahu?
All of these other leaders, world leaders have been, claiming, that they're all for Ukraine. What did Netanyahu say?
I feel like you're quizzing me. Are you giving me a quiz, or if you have the answer?
If you heard, I would have thought because him and Trump. I mean, they're joined at the hip.
Oh, you mean did he make a statement? I was sorry, I wasn't tracking. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were going back to a news story that I hadn't heard yet. Netanyahu.
No. I just got. I was surprised I hadn't heard anything. What did he say?
Right. Let me see if there's anything. I'm not seeing anything from the news sources. But go ahead. You also wanted to touch on Joy Reid?
Yeah. I was telling Lady B, back, I don't know, about 9 years ago, there was, when MSNBC were firing Lawrence O'Donnell. And the people, they were so outraged and stuff, they just protested and, they weren't going to watch MSNBC, and they had to do a reversal. They should do this with Joy Reid too.
Yeah, I'm really angry. I love the clip that from Stephanie Miller's show. I think one of her guests talked about how how much Joy Reid had done for him, and he's not worried because she's tremendous. And but I do worry about losing such strong voices on what's more left leaning television. Yeah,
because like you're talking about. Leadership and with the Democratic Party. Who do we got? We got one hawking books now, and they're kind of just laying it in our hands to do the stuff. Ain't that what they're elected for?
Yeah.
To be a leader? I mean, we got to start finding somebody. But I'll close with this one. This Trump and that administration, and they're like a parasitoid wasp. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Where these wasps lay their eggs inside or on their hosts, and as the larvae grow and develop, they eat them from the inside out.
I hope you're not eating, folks. Okay.
But eventually killing the host,
Yeah.
And that's just like what Trump's doing to our country right now. They're they're killing us from the inside.
That's him and the Doge bags and Peter Thiel with Vance. They are. That's what Curtis Yarvin. I mean, seriously, Dave, take a look at Curtis Yarvin. Everything that they're doing is what he prescribes to them, and they're going with it. And the tech bros and the billionaires. So you're right. It's kind of a Trojan horse situation. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. All right. Be well. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks. Naomi is calling from Santa Monica. Yes. Hi, Naomi. Are you hydrating? Naomi? Oh no. Are you there? Unmute me. If you can hear me, Naomi, unmute me. All right, I'm gonna put you on. Oh wait, it's me. It's my fault, not you. Hold on.
I'm here.
Yes. Hi, Naomi. That was my fault. Sorry.
Oh, okay. How are you?
I'm hydrating. How are you?
I'm at hydrate too. Thank you for reminding me.
Yep.
I wanted to tell you the word you were looking for was gish gallop.
Gish, is it Gish Gallop? I wrote it down when Paul said it. Gish Gallop?
Yeah, Moses.
Okay.
I heard it when he said it. That's right.
I've got to remember that because it's so accurate as to what. Yeah, there's a couple of callers who will. Yep.
Yeah, that's what Trump was doing to Biden during that so-called debate.
Yes.
He was doing the Gish Gallop.
The Gish Gallop.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so grateful for that, Naomi. How is it out in Santa Monica? How are your neighbors doing?
It's fine. It's good. It's good. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, which is good. I mean, I don't think it's going to rain too much, so that's going to be maybe a light. You need it.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, thank you for calling and helping me out with that. Gish Gallop. I appreciate it. Be well.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hydrate. And we got Roosevelt. Your calls are being taken in the order they were received. Hi, Roosevelt. How are you doing today? How may I help you?
Oh, my God. What the hell was that?
Right? I mean, right? I mean, but yet it's unbelievable yet not surprising. I don't know if that's possible. Is it possible for something to be unbelievable yet not surprising? Right?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
You're trying to pull. Okay, what's the thing? Tell us the thing.
Here, I'm going to start with this. Katie Van, don't these people look at their own videos? Don't they see how ridiculous and, I almost said the two words, the kissers, okay? The first word starts with A.
Well, butt kissers. You can say butt kissers if that makes you more comfortable.
Okay, butt kissers. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's a word. And Spanish people know this word, especially Mexicans. Montoneros. What does that mean? It means pile on. You pile on and you get other people to do your dirty work, and then you pile on. You finish the job. You know? Sort of like the Caesars in the old Roman Empire days, where they all had to grab a knife and then stab Caesar so that they'd all be complicit. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the same thing. Now, here's my question to you or to anybody out there. How's anybody going to trust the United States ever again? Ever again. I don't mean the next president, even if it's a Democrat, because this guy has broken the mold. This guy has set the pace for the future. Europe.
Yep. Yes.
Everybody else.
Yep.
Everybody else. And then here comes another one next Tuesday with the tax, whatever those things are called, that he's going to slap on Mexico. You know? So, and you know what? Jonas DeVito started her show in a rant for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because this makes us look the opposite of what we were. And I disagree with you, especially what you said earlier, that this started with Reagan. And I'm glad you said what you said about Reagan, because that's exactly how I feel. Or worse than that, how I feel about Reagan. But I disagree with you. This started with Nixon and Ford.
I threw Nixon in. Right, I threw Nixon in talking about the some of that, but for me, I think it became much more solidified and emboldened under Nixon and under Reagan. I agree with you. I think Nixon and Ford for sure.
Yeah, because this is why we're in this mess right now. And Adam, it's not even a mess. It's a pile of you know what.
Yep. I know.
And you know what? You know what I was getting on the radio in Spanish? Oh, Lazinski is Bentoni and all this and that. I texted that lady back and forth. I said, he's one of the good guys. You're totally wrong. Prior to him saying the things that he said to Vance. In other words, why do you have to yell at me when you're telling me? And they wouldn't let him talk.
Mm-mm. No, they kept asking him questions. They kept making these broad, insane statements, and then when he tried to respond, they shouted him, and they were raising their voices to him. We all, I think, were watching just the most abusive conversation, and somebody texted that Trump and Vance try to kill honor before our very eyes. We will not let them. Community, integrity, action. I've got to run because I've got a guest coming up, Roosevelt.
And I want to thank you again for taking my call.
Of course. Hydrate this weekend and find some joy, okay? I'm going to go door knocking. So I'm taking... Take care. All right. Thanks, Roosevelt. Thank you. And I want to get to a couple of texts before I get to the. I'll get to your calls as well. But we do have our friend from Indiana joining us in just a moment. Today, J.D. Vance admitted Russia invaded Ukraine. That Vance apparently put out a statement. For 4 years, the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging diplomacy. So he's saying that it's Biden's fault that he says the thumping of our chest and pretending that the United States words mattered more than the president of the United States actions. What gibberish is this? What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President... That was diplomacy? Dude, they need to take your degree back. I can't remember if is it Yale or Harvard, one of those hoity-toity schools that gave you... No, it's Harvard, whatever. I don't... This is absolute crap. I don't know if I want... Thank you for sharing that from the 773. And let's see, from Jill, how can his supporters believe the quid pro quos weren't real with all these shakedowns in clear view? Exactly. We'll talk about that some more too. The quid pro quo that happened in 2019 when the legal counsel of OMB, Mark Paoletta, wrote and said, "You're not going to get any aid from us against Russia." This is to President Zelensky, unless basically you get something that we want, which essentially was dirt on the Biden family, which they brought it up. Did you see President Zelensky's face when they said that the Russia scandal started in with the Hunter Biden and the Bidens and in Hunter Biden's bathroom and his bedroom? Like, what the freaking frack was that? And Zelensky tried so hard to remain calm, but you could see his eyebrows going, "What is this? Is anybody at any point you thought like the guy from Candid Camera was going to jump out and go, "Gotcha! Isn't this funny?" No, that's not going to happen. Okay. That's how ridiculous this is. Let's take a break here because, as I mentioned, I'm going to be going door knocking for some races in Wisconsin. We want to know what's going on with our friends to the east in Indiana and find out how we can help with any important races. We're going to talk to Sam Barloga, the communications director for the Indiana Democratic Party. Let's see how they're doing. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure we're all doing great. Thanks a lot, MAGA.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Showers tonight and a little bit of light snow possible. Not much in the way of accumulation. Temperatures fall back to around 23 degrees. Winds will be gusty early on out of the northwest as high as 45 miles an hour and then decreasing through the night. Saturday sunny with a high of 31 degrees and northwest winds at 15 to 30. Sunday sunshine with a high around 36. Monday chance of rain and snow, high of 43. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 55.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Count me among the Americans that want to see change. Now, of course, the change I was looking for would have put Kamala Harris in the White House. Americans voted for change. They just, Trump, I think they got the wrong kind. Still, I'm grateful for elections, even when we lose. They tell us about ourselves, and we can't ignore that and shouldn't.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We are going to continue to work with our like-minded progressives across the country. You know, we talked to Jess Piper. Yesterday we talked to Representative James Tallarico out of Texas. Of course, we talked to Afton Bain out of Tennessee. And today we want to welcome Sam Barloga, who is a communications director for the Indiana Democratic Party. Sam, are you staying hydrated? I don't ask people how they are anymore. Are you staying hydrated?
I'm doing my best, Patty, and I really appreciate you bringing on folks from across the country, from red states too, that deserve the attention right now. So thank you.
Absolutely. Because, this is what we tried to work through. We knew that there were races that were going to be just, hard to win. It's hard to go back and think how we felt on November 4th. I wonder, what are you hearing? Are you hearing the fart around and find out folks at all? Are there any people who are feeling remorse that are reaching out to the Democratic Party of Indiana?
I don't know if it's so much as folks feeling remorse, but it's a lot of folks who are just wondering what is left for them to do, right? I mean, there's this huge void to fill after the election. And here in Indiana, we've been trying to hold our Republican Congress people accountable, but also, we just started the state legislative session as well, so trying to put out fires there as well. And there's lots of opportunities for folks to get involved, testify on legislation down at the State House, and also call their representatives and let them know that the budget reconciliation bill that they passed last week is something that's going to cut SNAP benefits and Medicaid benefits for hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers. We want as many Hoosiers to know that as possible.
One of the things that I'm hoping will happen as people, and because we know that the cuts are coming, I just think people need to prepare themselves. And I've had listeners who are really scared, and they're honest to God, folks. I don't have any words of encouragement. I have a severely disabled child. I am scared too. And there isn't like a point of acceptance. It's terrifying. I would say find out about the mutual aid organizations in your community. Talk to the people right now from your departments on aging, disabilities, all those things. But you know what I'm hoping, Sam, is as somebody who's in communications, maybe you'll appreciate this. When people are losing services or there's funding for services, I'm hoping that these agencies send out the letters and say, because of the Republicans in our legislature or because of Donald Trump's decisions, so that people get that in their hands. And it's not lying. It's not propaganda. It's the absolute truth of what's happening. Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. Here in Northwest Indiana, not too far from Chicago in Central Time in Indiana, and we've had multiple employees fired from the Indiana Dunes National Park and the National Park Service as well. The National Park here is the 8th most visited national park in the entire country. Millions of visitors each year, and people who were working their livelihoods to better this region, protect us from invasive species, have all been put on the chopping block. And that goes for agencies across the board that we're seeing this across the country. I honestly think the economic report that you saw today, 1.5% negative GDP growth in the first quarter, I think that has a lot to do with the federal firings that are happening. There's not enough jobs to replace the federal cut.
No, there really isn't. And I don't. The thing about people who talk about the fart around and find out, the FAFO, is that it's going to hurt a lot of people who nobody. Here's the thing: even if they voted for Trump, nobody deserves to suffer. I know that people are. Look, I laughed yesterday at a story about this woman who voted for Trump because he said he would make IVF free, but she's a federal worker, so neither is IVF free. She also lost her job. And in the instance, it's like it's just so hard that they believed him. So what is the messaging? I know we're talking a lot about messaging. When you talk about your legislature, what are you telling folks about what they are doing? Because it looks like conservative held legislatures are really using this opportunity to go to the extremes, like whether it's transgender issues or abortion rights or funding for necessary programs. What are the Republicans in your legislature doing, and how are you conveying that to folks?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing is, we're going to see these massive cuts on the federal level to Medicaid and the Medicare. And then on the state level, we have the HIP 2.0 program here in Indiana, the Healthy Indiana Plan, and that covers 730,000 Hoosiers. There's a bill that passed the state Senate that's going to cap that at 500,000, and put lifetime caps of 3 years of coverage for Hoosiers. I mean, that's going to affect families in such a negative way, and then on top of the federal cuts. So we're really trying to message on that, trying to tell people to call their representatives now, warn them about the impacts it will have to their family. It's going to cost 200,000 people their health care coverage here in Indiana. So that's one of our biggest fights.
Wow.
Also, universal school choice is moving forward, which, of course, takes away millions of dollars from public school budgets. So we're fighting on those two things. The good news, I can say, is that all 10 bills related to abortion, including several on criminalization, did not move forward in the first half of session. Those bills are dead.
Okay. And what led to that? Just they were taking too big of a chunk out of, was there resistance, or how did they die?
Yeah, I think there was resistance. I mean, what I thought was interesting is that, a lot of these Republican committee chairs here, they have to call these things to a vote in their individual committees, and none of those bills even got a hearing. So I think that with the pressure that Hoosiers have put on, polls saying that this is not what we want, I think they're a little bit scared to touch that issue right now.
Well, there's at least a few bright spots. So on the Indiana Dems website, by the way, folks, for those of you who live in Indiana or want to support the work they're doing, in Dems, it's indems.org. Tell us a little bit about, you're reorganizing. You're going to be having new leadership. What's the vision through 2025?
Yeah, absolutely. So tomorrow is actually the first big step of our reorganization process. Our county parties will gather in the county seats of all 92 counties across Indiana, and they'll elect new county party leadership tomorrow for chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. That's the first step to electing a new statewide chair and leadership team on March 15th, which will be voted in the Central Committee. I think we have very well-qualified candidates for chair. And I think they know that we're going to have to go around the state. We're going to have to barnstorm in communities large and small and really hit the ground running in 2025, because this is a year where we can really build up, because we don't have any elections in Indiana this year. So I think it's going to be a big year for recruitment. We want folks to run for offices from Congress and the State House all the way down to Township Board, where we think we can make some inroads next year. So really just stay involved, stay engaged, find opportunities to run locally. And on our website, you can reach out to your county party leadership as well.
Wow. And how can we support the work you guys are doing from anywhere in the country?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our website, indems.org. Feel free to make a contribution. Anything large or small helps our efforts here in Indiana, pushing back on the cuts at the State House, and also some ridiculous things that Republicans are doing, like trying to annex 30 counties in downstate Illinois.
Are they still trying to do that?
Yeah, so that bill passed the House to form a commission on this boundary adjustment commission. Of course, it requires Illinois to do the same. That's never going to happen. But it just shows that it's a waste of time, and they're putting Hoosiers last. They're putting the interests of people in other states before Hoosiers.
Okay, so they want to bring in those counties. They want to absorb them. Yeah, why are they wasting time on this if we're not going to agree? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should just. I'm torn over that one, because a lot of counties in Illinois hate us anyway.
It's true.
They don't like the economic engine that Chicago is, and the fact is that Democrats are not as retaliatory as Republicans are, so we don't choke off the rest of the state just because
No, I mean those schools the public schools downstate, services downstate. I mean, they would all see massive cuts if they became parts of Indiana.
Yeah.
And thousands of people would lose their health insurance. I don't think that those things are being considered.
Well, they should be conveyed to them. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they would listen. They would think that was not believable. I mean, every time I think about these things, and you just mentioned, the resources, because it's education, it is infrastructure, right? It's these roads that farmers rely on. What is it that appealed to? Is it still the traditions of the Bible and gun ownership and people of color shouldn't have progress? Like, are those the things that resonate with the Republican voters, the conservative voters of Indiana?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that folks, like in a lot of parts across the middle of America, I think folks feel left behind. I think it's very hard. I think that the Democratic Party right now on a national level has a major branding issue. And we need to get back to communicating to these folks in rural communities, because we can't win in places like Indiana without doing better in smaller communities. And that's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of rebuilding work. But I think the least we can do is show up, especially when the Republicans that they have elected aren't showing up. None of our representatives are holding town halls. None of the members are being responsive to their constituents in those ways, especially after passing a budget that's, going to cut benefits for their constituents. So, I think it's going to be important in 2025 with our new chair, with our new leadership, that we fill that void. We go to these places, talk to folks, and know that they have a real option on their ballot in 2026 to bring some balance back to our state and to our country.
When you guys have conversations about the messaging or the, what Democrats have to offer, what are some of the things that people talk about? I mean, it seems like we overcomplicate it, right? What are some of the things that you would like to see Democrats out there making sure voters understand about where we're coming from?
Yeah, I think we got to get back to two things: supporting people economically, especially if we're going to enter into a new recession, and other things, making sure that they know Democrats are there for them, trying to protect the benefits that they rely on. But then also, I think one of the reasons we were so successful in the first Trump midterm in 2018 was because we had a large emphasis on talking about healthcare and healthcare costs.
Yes.
We have to get back to that. I think we've got to talk about healthcare. I mean, it resonates in communities large and small across the country.
Well, maybe one of the things that will come out of this is that's better understood when people start to lose their Medicare and Medicaid, and it will be more defined as to what we are fighting for and why we are. So I agree. I think that healthcare is the crisis of our lifetime. Well, I thought it was before this craziness, this craptastic situation with the White House.
I mean, every day. What we saw today in the Oval Office was, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you so much. It's Sam Barloga. Am I saying your name correctly?
Yeah, no, you got it.
I thank you so much. Yeah. He is a communications director for the Indiana Democratic Party. Go to indems.org and be informed on what's going on for our neighbors. If you don't live in the area, but we have friends that are listening all over the country, all over the world. This is a way to learn what's going on at the state level. Thank you so much, Sam, and please don't hesitate to reach out. We love touching base with you and want to help in any way we can.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. Man, they're doing the harder work. I know we're doing the hard work, but man, trying to win hearts and minds. We got to keep doing it, folks. Let's take a break here. I'll continue taking your phone calls when we come back on Driving It Home with me, Patti Vasquez. I'm very glad you're here. I wish it were under better circumstances. Seriously, what is happening? Okay, it's fine. I'm fine. Everything's great.
The Democratic Party of DuPage County is celebrating 50 years with a gala event on Sunday, March 2nd. Make your plans to attend this very special event at Bobak's Signature Events in Woodridge. The program begins at 5:30 p.m. The list of speakers includes Governor J.B. Pritzker, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and several members of Congress. The keynote speaker will be Anderson Clayton, who is one of the rising stars of the Democratic Party. Anderson was elected chair of the Democratic Party of North Carolina at the age of 23. The DuPage Dems Gala funds efforts to defeat extremists in DuPage County and fight back against Donald Trump. Get your tickets now. It's the Democratic Party of DuPage County 50th Anniversary Gala, Sunday, March 2nd at Bobak's Signature Events in Woodridge. Buy your tickets now before it sells out. For tickets, visit DuPageDemocrats.com. That's DuPageDemocrats.com.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversey Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Okay, let's continue the conversation. I think folks have a lot on their minds. And I want to go back to something that a listener shared with Joan about today was Economic Blackout Day, or continues to be. I spent cash at one place and one place only, which is Rep Chai. That's Replica Chicago on Milwaukee Avenue here. If you guys are watching on the Facebook Live, I stopped by. It's a small business here on the northwest side. It's near Milwaukee and Montrose. And it's a woman of color owned store with all things Chicago themed or Chicago artists. There's jewelry and shirts. So I bought one shirt that has like the sort of the transit lines, kind of a cool looking transit line shirts in a fun color. Got some Chicago socks. Just want to support local businesses. And I'll tell you, she said that a lot of people came in today shopping with cash only, and it made her feel better to know that the community was thinking of her when they think of not shopping at the big stores or online or using your credit cards. So my best to Marion. Here, this is one I've had. I mean, I am like a walking. Are there bigger dorks for Chicago than me? I'm just curious, Lady B. If you guys are watching the live stream, I carry this purse everywhere I go. This is a Chicago flag purse. I am I'm a walking billboard for one of my favorite stores in Chicago. You can go to their website. I think it's repchi, repchi.com. Just if you have any local businesses you want to support today and anytime, please message them to me. You can text 773-763-9278. And if you don't hear from me and saying thank you, I've got that info. Keep trying and hopefully I'll get to it. Or you can email me at pattyhappens@gmail.com. That's PATTI happens@gmail.com. And there's a tea shop in Mount Greenwood called, or Beverly? I think it's Mount Greenwood. I should bring the card with me, but it's a black-owned business. I met Leslie, the owner. It's called Mosaic, and it was fantastic. I got to bring you some teas, Lady B, because we're staying hydrated. And there was a lot. She has over 150 different blends. I got one that has like a little bit of cinnamon, caramel, vanilla flavor to it. It's good. It's some good stuff. That's Mosaic Tea in Mount Greenwood. Here's Steve. We're taking your calls in the order they've been received. Steve in Des Plaines. What's on your mind, my friend?
Hello, Madam.
I am mad.
I don't know if you're... Well, and I've got my Diet Dr. Pepper right here in my
nice, hydrating. Love it.
I'm hydrating. If it's not Diet Dr. Pepper, it'll be grapefruit Fresca, which
nice.
I'm addicted to.
All right.
Anyway, I don't know if you're listening to Joan. I was the Marine that was crying today.
I heard you. Yep. I think a lot of us. Yep.
I never in my life. This is worse than the election. I'm 71. I remember the day Kennedy got shot.
Yeah.
I remember distinctly. And I was so disgusted, and I'm ashamed to be an American. And these two thugs, the way in the Marines, we'd say human piles of human debris. That's what they are. Both of them, their attitudes, and the people behind them. And I never was so disgusted. Now, I thought I hit bottom before, in the last couple of weeks. But from now, I am not going to give quarter or take quarter from anybody, even my own family. I was kind of biting my tongue a little bit at the Legion. I'm a member of Post 208 on Arlington Heights. And I bite my tongue there because, at the bar, you kind of like, well, and there's Trumpers in there whose kids are in the Navy too. So I'm gonna dig in. I'm gonna give no quarter, take no quarter. Because the thing we're having this afternoon was a shame, and I loved it when you were reading off all the people from around the world. I was proud. I was proud to hear all that.
Yeah.
That, I was hoping that they're going to go along without America. I hope they do.
Yeah.
I hope.
I can't blame them. I mean, what are we supposed to do? We can't expect them to go, oh, well, no. I mean, our country elected him. This was a peaceful election. We're going to talk to Greg Palast, is going to be in studio with me next Thursday. Greg Palast will be in studio next Thursday, and we'll talk about how we don't talk about how this election was stolen, but it has been incrementally stolen over the years by marginalizing communities and throwing them off the rolls, excluding them from having access to the polls. One of the things Sam Barloga from Indiana on their website, like they want to cut the amount of early voting. They want to make it harder for students to vote. And this is how they set up elections. And they are, and how long before they decide to pattern it over how Russia runs their elections, which is, eliminating the opposition by, making sure that they're choked off, from financial ability to do that. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, real quick, I had my first test in 45 years. I got 88 out of 100.
Excellent. How do you feel? It's awesome.
Yeah, I was up against it. I was like freaked out, and it's been so long, and everything's new, everything's online, and it's just different, right?
Yep.
And I did pretty good.
Well, we're all thrilled for you. Congratulations on that. Thank you so much.
Have a good weekend.
Standing ovation for Stephen Desplaines. Look forward to hearing from you again, my friend. Have a weekend. I can't say have a good weekend. I can't make that happen for you. Thanks, Steve. Do something fun. All right, I appreciate it. And Jackie, who's calling from the south suburbs. Hi, Jackie. How are you doing? How are you hydrating today?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's me. Okay, I'm from the southwest side of Chicago.
Side. Okay.
I'm the southwest side of Chicago. Yeah, I was calling you. Yes, I am hydrating. I got the glass of wine here, and I got the bag of potato chips open.
I love it, Jackie.
So,
yep.
I think I'm going to hit the bottom of both of them.
I hear you.
Before the night's over. But anyway,
Cheetos also pairs very well with red wine. Just so you know. Go. Yeah. Oh yeah. I love Cheetos.
Well, I got. You know what? I got Mogan David.
Ooh.
So I'm really, so I'm just like, it's like grape juice. I'm 72, going to be 73. Anyways, what I called is also, I'm pissed off about that whole thing too. But I want to let you know that Pritzker was on The View, and he talked about that there are no inspectors for your poultry and our meat in the state of Illinois.
They removed them all because of their federal.
Pritzker said we have no inspectors in the state of Illinois.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, folks, I would go to only places that have their own, like, the local places. Although even that, I had not seen that, Jackie.
Yeah, it was on The View. And then the other thing I want to know, I know your New Orleans thing, but I wanted you, there's a band that came to the Orland Library of last couple of years during the summer, and it was called the Third City Brass Band.
Okay.
So Google them. It's a lot like the music I think that you want, and maybe you can listen before or after your vacation.
Oh, yeah. Tell me again. The third.
It's number 3, RD, and then City, and then Brass Band. And
Excellent.
They're out of Joliet.
Awesome.
So that may keep you going in between or whatever when you need an uplift. Google them. I don't know where. Google them on Facebook and that. I don't do that kind of stuff. But like I said, I saw them at the library twice, and they were terrific. All the guys were just absolutely wonderful.
I will start following them. Thank you for that.
Okay. Now you have a lovely evening, even though everything is so bad.
Yeah, it's all craptastic.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That was great to hear from you, and I'm pissed off too. I love it. I love your energy. Have a weekend. Do something fun. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Let's take a break here. We're gonna go to the news, I think, and then there's top of the hour. I think I'll see how we feel. More in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. Don't let an outdated garage door define your home. Revamp your home's appearance with a new ideal garage door. Choose from our large in-stock selection or design your own using our free Garage Door Designer. Save big and ideal garage doors. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump's demanding an immediate ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine and warning President Volodymyr Zelensky to make peace or lose American support. This after the two had a public blow-up in the Oval Office. Saka Magani has reaction.
They were supposed to eat lunch, but uneaten plates of salad and other food items were being packed up outside the cabinet room after Volodymyr Zelensky left the White House following the tense meeting with President Trump.
Complete, utter disaster.
GOP Senator Lindsey Graham says Zelensky's behavior was disrespectful.
And I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again.
Some other Republicans worry about a blow to diplomacy and foreign policy. Democrat Chris Murphy calls the meeting a planned ambush designed to embarrass Zelensky and benefit Vladimir Putin. While Russian state TV hailed the showdown as Trump disciplining Zelensky, European leaders were quick in supporting Ukraine. Sagar Magani, Washington.
State health officials say the number of measles cases in West Texas has increased to 146. And Iowa's become the first state to remove gender identity protections from its civil rights code.
Governor Kim Reynolds has signed into law a bill that opponents say will expose transgender people and other Iowans to discrimination. It creates explicit legal definitions of female and male based on someone's reproductive organs at birth, rejecting the idea that a person can transition to another gender. It takes effect July 1st. I'm Mike Hempen.
The Commerce Department says American consumers cut spending 0.2% last month, likely in part because of the cold. The report also showed inflation dropped to 2.5% compared with January a year ago. And on Wall Street, a rally to close a mostly down week for stocks. The S&P and the Nasdaq each gained 1.6%. This is AP News. His sentence commuted, Leonard Peltier is maintaining his innocence in the deaths of 2 FBI agents.
In 1975, there was a shootout on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation.
I didn't kill nobody, and there's no evidence that I did. None whatsoever.
Former FBI Director Chris Wray called Peltier a remorseless killer. Peltier spoke to the AP from his new home on the Turtle Mountain Reservation in North Dakota.
I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting for our people because we ain't finished yet. We're still in danger.
The now 80-year-old Peltier was part of a movement that fought for Native American rights and tribal self-determination. He feels now threats are on the rise from the federal government to come from mineral and oil on tribal lands.
You don't have to get violent. You don't have to do nothing like that. Just get out there and stand up and express. We got to resist.
Biden said he commuted Peltier's sentence because of his age and declining health. I'm Ed Donahue.
And I'm Ben Thomas, AP News. Thanks for listening.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Showers tonight and a little bit of light snow possible. Not much in the way of accumulation. Temperatures fall back to around 23 degrees. Winds will be gusty early on out of the northwest as high as 45 miles an hour, and then decreasing through the night. Saturday, sunny with a high of 31 degrees and northwest winds at 15 to 30. Sunday, sunshine with a high around 36. Monday, chance of rain and snow, high of 43. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 55.
What's on your to-do list? Check your mail? Get groceries? How about getting your annual vaccines? We can help you check that off.
You've got this.
Yes, you do. Because we've got you. With local vaccine events and access to transportation, protecting yourself and your loved ones is not a chore anymore.
You've got this.
A message from the Aging and Disability Vaccination Collaborative, powered by U.S. Aging. Funded by the U.S. Administration for Community Living through a grant to U.S. Aging. Learn more at yougotthis.usaging.org.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you for joining us as we continue to drive it home. Want to say hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we're broadcasting here out of Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. If the signal is not coming through strong on your radio in your car or your kitchen or wherever you tune in, you can also download the TuneIn app and listen to us anywhere you go. You can check out heartlandsignal.com. All of our shows are also available there live. And our podcast, if you miss anything on the show, every show is podcast, including interviews that are standalone segments. So go to all of your podcast locations like Amazon, Spotify, and all those places. I want to thank our sponsor, Source Solar, for making these conversations possible. Go to source.solar, your source for solar in Illinois, and we'll have Pete and Warren on in the next couple of weeks to talk about why it's cost friendly, it's cost savings to have solar panels on your house. They'll talk to you about the process. And again, go to source.solar for more information, and go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. We have some shows coming up. We're going to be broadcasting there again next month. We go once a month to the Madison Tap Room. They've got great beers, wines. You've got some and non-alcoholic choices, including seltzers and root beer, orange soda. And I just want to tell you, they've got great stuff, and T-shirts and hats. So go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. And speaking of Wisconsin, we have with us State Senator Dianne Hesselbein, who we want to talk to you about what's going on in Wisconsin. By the way, Senator, I want to tell you, I'm a bit of a geek for Wisconsin. I started a group during the campaign season last year called Fibs for Wisconsin. So we are always engaged and invested in what goes on in Wisconsin. How are you doing today?
Well, I love that, Fibs for Wisconsin. That's fantastic. I'm doing well.
Yeah, I try not to ask everybody that because I mostly ask if you're hydrating. So are you staying hydrated as well? Yeah, stay hydrated.
I am.
Oh, good.
Yes, I am. I am, actually. It's been a good day for that. A lot of coffee, though, too.
Yeah, no doubt. So so there's some crazy stuff going on with the Supreme Court race. We already kind of knew about that. But now there's this story about the fact that women, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin is driven by women who are led by their emotions. Okay, when you see something like that or you hear something like that, it's not unbelievable anymore, really, is it?
No, unfortunately it's not. But Brad Schimmel saying that Judge Jill Karofsky was driven by emotions or, quote, on the brink of losing it, end quote. I watched what he's talking about. She didn't even raise her voice. She was not yelling. She was not driven by her emotions. She was simply asking questions.
Right. So we took that. I don't even understand why this seem like a safe lane for him to call out somebody and saying that they're leading by emotions, that that women. I mean, it is a direct hit on women's ability to lead, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's completely sexist. Schimmel is wrong for Wisconsin. And his comments set us back to the 1849 abortion ban, which he supports. And actually, that's what he's talking about. The Supreme Court justices were listening to a case and asking questions about the 1849 ban. And he said that they were driven by emotions and on the brink of losing it, and they absolutely were not. They were simply asking questions of the lawyers that were presenting to them, exactly what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, it's and here. But by the way, let me just say, the idea that first of all, emotions don't figure into what our lived experience is. They're just. I guess the thing is that he's saying of the women on the bench is that they're leading with emotions. Well, here's the thing. So are they. You know what I mean? Like they want to strip people of their rights because they feel they emotionally are unable to deal with women having autonomy. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And I think if they were emotional on the bench, that would have been just fine. But I watched the whole thing, and they were not. His comments were disastrous. He has a terrible record, and he was former attorney general. He didn't even process rape kits. There are thousands of untested rape kits when he was attorney general. He is bad for Wisconsin. He doesn't belong on the Supreme Court, and this is just another example of that.
Now, one of the things that I'm proud to have worked on, I mentioned Fibs for Wisconsin. We were in, we worked Racine, Kenosha, Walworth County. Tomorrow we're going up to door knock for Judge Susan Crawford for that Supreme Court race, as well as the Superintendent of Schools race, because I know that all this money is coming in. It's stupefying, really. What are you hearing from constituents in the wake of the decisions that have been made in D.C. and the Doge bags and all of those stories that have emerged as what they want to do with public service supports and the federal jobs? What are you hearing from constituents?
People are so afraid of what's going on with the chaos and confusion in D.C. There is so much unknown and so much strange things happening. We're really worried, though, too, that Elon Musk is pouring money into Brad Schimmel's campaign in the state of Wisconsin, trying to buy it because he wants that Republican on that Supreme Court so they can continue to take us back hundreds of years. Brad Schimmel wants the 1849 ban to stand. You've heard what he said about women on the bench and their emotions, and we know that he is absolutely wrong for Wisconsin. So people are looking at Donald Trump and Elon Musk and what they're doing and extremely afraid. I have farmers that are nervous. What's going to happen to their crops this year? What's going on with USAID? They have some crops right now in the fields. When they bring it out, are they going to have to? Where is it going to go? It's just been a complete mess since Donald Trump became president again.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what some people expected, but I have to believe for many people this wasn't it. And and I'm grateful for the work that a lot of folks did to make sure that you guys were able to flip this. I mean, not flip, but you flipped several seats and broke the supermajority.
We did.
Yeah. How's that been?
We did.
Yeah.
It was amazing. We had 11 members at the end of last time, and so we wanted to flip 4 seats. And everyone thought, it wasn't going to happen. And we're like, no, it's going to happen. We finally have fair maps for the first time in the state of Wisconsin. We've been gerrymandered for years. We had fantastic candidates. We had one candidate knock over 19,000 doors himself in Green Bay. They were extremely hardworking. We were to flip these 4 seats. So the same night, when Donald Trump is winning and we're looking at the disaster going, every state's saying how they're voting, we're like, oh my gosh, we were getting wins. So it's like, we're like, oh, Green Bay went for our candidate or this person, but then we're finding out Pennsylvania went down. It's like all these other things. So quietly celebrating our own wins, but also devastated, of course, what happened at the top of the ticket. But Wisconsin also kept Tammy Baldwin, so thank you for your work with that as well. So thank goodness we kept our U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin working for us.
Yeah, I think one of the hard things is explaining to folks, a lot of people get surprised when they realize that they're voting for a Supreme Court justice. Like and we do the same in Illinois, but beyond the absolutely horrific legislation that they want to go back to in 1849 when it comes to women's autonomy, it's more than that too. It is the gerrymandered maps. It is, making sure people have access to the vote and public education. Talk to us a little bit about how, there's so many elements to this as to why Musk and Trump want this, right?
Absolutely. We can go back to more gerrymandered maps. They could make a decision that would take us, back to where we were or even worse, right? They could redo them again, so we'd have to be complete chaos again of what maps are we running under now. They have, right now in front of the Supreme Court, there's an Act 10 about collective bargaining. That's in front of the Supreme Court. I'm not sure when they're going to be making those decisions. Are they going to be standing up for state workers or not? That'll be a decision that they make. Everything important in the state of Wisconsin is happening, and we have to get everybody voting for Judge Susan Crawford on April 1st, because all of the gains that we've made in the state Senate, we need to continue to make those gains, of course, in the next election, but really we're focusing on April 1st. We have to get this one right.
Now, for folks who might want to learn more about you, where did you grow up, my friend?
I grew up in the Madison area, so just about 20 minutes away from where I live now. I went to a public university. I've got a master's degree as well, and then was really called to public service on a local school board years ago, and then continued to find fun things to run for and serve my community. And where are you in your term as state senator in Wisconsin? I'm in the middle of the terms. We have 4-year terms, and I'm in my second. Well, my first term as a senator, but I was in the state assembly since 2012 until 22. And so you're up for re-election in 26? That is correct. And are you? I'm not going to push you on that part, but what kind of work are you guys doing organizing as we head into some of these April 1st races? Well, I'll tell you, it was interesting. Even after we were up all night long because some of the ballots took forever to count in the state of Wisconsin, and like a day after that November election, we were getting calls, people wanting to run against some of these Republican senators. So we are working already, recruiting, talking to people. We're in the middle of budget season, trying to hold my Republican colleagues accountable with what they will or possibly won't do, especially when it comes to education funding. So we'll see where that all lands. But right now we're really focused on April 1st.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that people need to know as far as the public education element, because these forces have been working really hard to divert funding to the charter schools, the parochial schools, leaving a lot of counties strapped and trying to put it on the ballots. Is there a solid path forward to clawing some of that back, or at least holding the line?
Yes, I think we will, but I think we're going to need to take the majority in the next election so that we can put money back into public education. You know, we're sitting on a $4 billion with $1 billion surplus right now, and the reason we're sitting on that surplus in the state of Wisconsin is because we haven't been funding our public schools like we should have been. There were more referendums for people in the state of Wisconsin in 2024 that they agreed to, up their taxes because they want to support their neighborhood schools than we've ever seen before. And it's because the Republicans refuse to fund public education in the state of Wisconsin.
Well, I'm so grateful for your time, and I encourage folks to visit Dianne for Wisconsin. It's Dianne for WI, and that's 2 N's in Dianne, so it's DIANNE for FOR. WI.com. Before we let you go, as I said, I come up there quite often. We'll be in Milwaukee tomorrow. In Madison, I have to tell you, I am obsessed with the restaurant Sardine.
So good.
Oh my God.
So good. That is correct. You should be obsessed with it. It is fantastic. So love that place. We have so many good restaurants here.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say Tipsy Cow for a pint and some pub food. Where are some of your other favorites if you want to share with us for people visiting? Because I think everyone should go check out your state capital. Ours is great. Yours is fantastic. Minnesota has a great one. So for folks who are visiting Madison, what other places do you send them?
Oh, love the old-fashioned downtown. That's fun. If you want a steak, go to the Tornado Room. You will never be disappointed. It's fantastic.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to talking to you again. Please reach out if you have any call to action for us. Anything you want to make sure we know about, don't hesitate. And thank you so much for your time and your perspective.
Thank you so much for having me on. Take care and have a great weekend.
Absolutely. You too. Stay hydrated.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. The phone lines are open, 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. And a heads up, we will be doing Whiskey and a Cookie after the show, so go to the Patty V show page, like my page, and join the conversation there as well. It's uncensored. I think there might be some cussing tonight, just saying.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Sometimes in life, you just need to make big, drastic changes. Other times, it's the little things that add up. Take this study that was just published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, for example. Researchers found that being more active every day could help you add an extra 5 to 10 years of life. The study's author told us that he was surprised to find that the loss of life years in the United States due to low levels of physical activity might rival the losses due to smoking and high blood pressure. Now here's the good news. You don't have to log lots of vigorous exercise, though that'll help. Instead, experts we talked to encouraged finding more moments to move throughout your day. Do some squats or lunges or take a quick walk while you're brushing your teeth, while you're heating up your food, while you're talking on the phone. It really does all add up. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us on this drive home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, broadcasting out of Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, as well as KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we're heard everywhere. You can take us with you. You can, if you download the TuneIn app or if you go to heartlandsignal.com through your browser, you can listen to all of our shows while they're live. There's also podcasts of every single show. And there's additionally, there are standalone podcasts of interviews that we highlight. And I want to let you know, coming up next week on Choose You. God, it was so great to hear. I've got to reach out to Karen from Chicago because she kindly has been sending me some message and I've been swamped. So thank you, Karen. It was great to hear your voice this morning. And along with Representative Cam Buckner, it was, again, great conversations. And coming up on Monday, Richard's guests will include Marcia Levick of the Juvenile Law Center, Democratic strategist Mike Nellis, immigration attorney Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. That's a lot. That's next week. That's not on Monday. That's over the whole week because I know Mayor Johnson joins him on Fridays once a month. So choose views weekdays from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, on TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And on Joan's show, Live, Local, and Progressive, she's going to have Illinois Reps Robin Kelly, Brad Schneider, and Sean Caston. Laura Rodriguez for the Center of American Progress Action Fund, Loyola Professor Brian Endless, David Kidwell of Injustice Watch, The Nation's Jeet Heer, Democratic strategist Peter Fenn, and many more. That's Live, Local, and Progressive. Weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central, right here on WCPT, the TuneIn app, or Heartland Signal website. Let's get to Steve in Chicago. Hey, Steve, what's on your mind, my friend? Are you hydrating?
As I told Lady B, I just grabbed a bottle of red wine, so I'll be hydrated soon.
Man, everyone's hitting the sauce tonight, man.
Can you blame us?
No, I have a 4-pack. So Minocqua Brewing Company has started to make Delta 9 beverages, yes. And so I'm going to crack that open after the show. That will be my beverage for whiskey and a cookie. So I guess you can watch.
Now, what is a Delta 9?
So Delta 9 that's something you can buy over the counter. So you don't have to it doesn't have to go through the dispensaries. Like I order. So it has some of the elements of the things that make you feel buzzy, but it's not the illegal aspect of the cannabis. So I think Illinois is trying to make it also under the category of cannabis. But right now, like Twisted Hippo in Illinois does a really great beverage. I haven't tried Minocqua. Oh no, I have, because and Jerry can message me the brewer that I think they're working with. I sampled one last month, and they give you. I don't need anything else. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, cool! I'll have to try that.
Yeah. There you go. But they're not available online yet. That's a tricky part. So locally, Twisted Hippo, I think that someone told me they found some at Binny's.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Minocqua, I know you mentioned it periodically, but I want to plug them. There's a great place just north of Montrose on Clark called My Buddies. That carries Minocqua.
Yes, we love My Buddies.
It's a great place.
Yeah.
Great. It's owned by great people who just really give back to the community, and it's just a great little place. So.
Yeah. I've got to go hang out there. We should tip one back sometime, Steve.
I would love that. Or if you ever get back up to Whiskey Girl, I'm just down the street.
Oh, Whiskey. Yeah, I was there on Sunday for the 40th Ward Dems. I wasn't sure till the last minute if I could make it, so I should have been better about promoting that.
I had to be somewhere else anyway, but I love that place. And I know you mentioned the other night, or somebody mentioned the other night, that it's a lesbian bar, but it's very welcoming and friendly to anybody that's cool.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wanted to check, because I was listening to you speak to the woman from Wisconsin about the judge.
Yes.
And the race. So I just want to check, the woman that they feel is too emotional, did she cry and scream about how she liked beer? Is that what made them think that she's too emotional to be in a leadership position and be making decisions that affect the entire nation?
I like
and world?
beer. Oh, I wish I had that audio.
I like beer.
Yeah, no kidding.
As I commented today on one of your posts, there is no bigger snowflake than a white heterosexual Christian presenting male. They're the biggest babies that have to have their heads patted and be reassured on a constant basis.
Yeah. And not all. By the way, guys, not all white men. Let's just put that out there.
I'm a white man.
Yeah,
but I'm willing to call it out a number of times. That oh my God, what if this is different? This isn't how we always had it. This isn't what my father comes. Life changed. The country's evolved. We're in a new place. You have to get in line with the black people and the gay people and the Jews and the Muslims and the women, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sorry, you can't always be at the front of the line.
And I wonder if that comes from things. And look, how do I put this? Maybe more accessible and more attainable. I don't know. I don't know what. I guess people approach challenges and trauma in a different way. The way I come from it, when there's change, I'm like, well, like here on the Northwest side, I've lived here my entire life. I know that this is a predominantly white neighborhood, so when they're going to put up affordable housing, I'm like, that's amazing. We should open up this wonderful community to anyone who wants to live here because they have been blocked out of this, this neighborhood. Yeah, so but to your point, everybody was like, we don't want to be Edgewater, and just sort of evoking.
I live in Edgewater, and it's a great community.
Right? That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that
I
when
always have to point. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was driving up.
I always. Yeah, go. You go.
I was thinking how wonderful that community scene when I was driving up Foster and heading up towards. Yeah, I think it's a great area. Go ahead.
It is. Well, I always point out to those people who again, who are so afraid of change, that most of them, and I forget who it was the other day, mentioned that they were Irish and something else, not you, because it was another. Oh, it was somebody mentioned they were Irish and Italian.
Okay.
And I wanted to point out. I always want to point out to people like that. That 100 years ago, 120 years ago, you weren't even considered white if you were Irish or Italian.
Right. Yeah. I agree.
So there's just, again, I'm a big history buff, and it always drives me crazy when I talk to people and I realize you do not understand our nation's history or our world's history at all,
or their own history.
Yeah,
their own lineage and how that unfolded for them. Well, thank you, Steve. Have a good. Stay hydrated. Enjoy your. What kind of wine? What kind of wine are you enjoying?
Let me see. It's called Middle Sister.
Oh.
And it's a sweet red table wine.
Excellent.
What I do is I join those wine clubs and get 18 bottles for $7 a bottle. So I never really know what I'm getting, or I know I'm getting a box of bread.
Excellent.
And I can count on one hand the number of bottles where I went, oh, that's yucky. I'm never going to get that again.
Right.
Everything else has been pretty good.
Oh, excellent. Well, enjoy. Cheers, my friend.
Good night. Have a great weekend.
Take care. You too. Let me take a break. I've got all my callers on hold. I'm going to get your calls right out of the gate when I come back I've got 2 minutes. Let me I got a couple minutes. Bill in Deerfield, Wisconsin. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, hey, Patty. Actually, it's Bayfield County. I'm way up by Lake Superior. And I keep hearing about the 2026 elections. Mm-hmm. I am not at all confident.
Yep.
Let's look at the summer of 2026. And the Republicans are way behind the 8 ball in the polls. Trump is going to find some reason to declare martial law. There will not be elections. So what I'm going to suggest here, and I'm going to do this even though I'll be lying through my teeth, If I get called for a poll, I will say I support Trump, because my feeling is if they think the polls are favoring them, they'll have an election. And I would suggest that at least half the Democrats do that. Just so that we don't get locked out of an election.
Interesting. Hey, I mean, like, right? What difference does it make if you answer a poll? If that's an interesting strategy.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Night.
I'm with you on that.
Thank you.
If they could find a way to eliminate the elections, they will. Bye, Bill. Thank you. Let's take a break here. We got more phone calls lined up when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller from the Weatherology Weather Center. Showers tonight and a little bit of light snow possible. Not much in the way of accumulation. Temperatures fall back to around 23 degrees. Winds will be gusty early on out of the northwest as high as 45 miles an hour, and then decreasing through the night. Saturday, sunny with a high of 31 degrees and northwest winds at 15 to 30. Sunday, sunshine with a high around 36. Monday, chance of rain and snow, high of 43. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 52.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
We got out of Washington State, and I think a week after, state went on lockdown for COVID.
So then when we transitioned to Texas, it was very much so like, what are we going to do now?
Operation Homefront has allowed our family to make something of ourselves again in the world after the military.
It's completely changed the way our life is. It took us from a hopeless situation, and now we're homeowners. We have a savings account. I'm the first one to own a home out of my siblings.
Visit OperationHomefront.org to learn more.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us. What a chaotic day. Thank you, Mirna, for sending me this story about the ambassador to Ukraine. She was in the room while this all unfolded, and she had her head in her hands and was visibly upset. And this devolved so quickly into a shouting match because President Zelensky pushed back against Donald Trump in front of all the cameras talking about a ceasefire, negotiating a ceasefire with Russia. This was supposed to be a meeting about these mineral rights and look, if you're gonna throw something out there, I mean, like, is he supposed to sit there and be quiet that you are telling him that he needs to negotiate a ceasefire? At which point, Vance and Donald started yelling at him. And of course, the White House, now Vance and all the Republicans are making fun of this woman who, you can see in her face that she's absolutely devastated that this is how the United States is treating Ukraine, spouting Russian propaganda. I just never thought. It never occurred to me in the last 10 years that we would be in this situation. This is absolute insanity. Victor is calling from Salem, Oregon. Thank you so much, Victor. Are you staying hydrated?
You know it, Patty V. How do you be? I'm actually calling you from my shower, so I'm a little hydrated now.
That's a good way to stay hydrated. I love it. Outstanding.
Well, I like to say that you remember all the town halls that Republican representatives were giving before they passed the resolution, the budget resolution, and all the screaming and yelling that took place. That they had to. Republican headquarters had to shut it down and said no more town halls.
Yep.
And that was before, people were slapping themselves in the face. They were biting each other. They were really upset. There was a lot of scratching and kicking. But after the budget resolution, Elon Musk sent a memo to everyone, all the representatives, and he says, the first thing you should do is never have any more town halls.
Yep.
Shut down your offices.
Yep.
And then he said, change your phone number. And if you can, change your name. And definitely have your kids, make sure you take your kids out of public school and homeschool them. And that's how the Republicans are going to be from now on.
They're going to stick their heads in the sand, for sure.
And one other thing about today's fiasco, what a shameful exposition that was by Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. It's just incredibly disgraceful. There are no other countries that were helping Ukraine that asked for anything. They didn't want any mineral deposits. They all gave as much as they could, over $160 billion to Ukraine, and we gave at least 120, not 350 billion.
Right.
Donald Trump, all he does is lie, and to me, it sounds like this was prearranged.
Yes.
Planned by from the Kremlin in order to have Ukraine thrown under the bus for for Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump's mandate that's coming up. And it's just sickening to watch how we've sold out to a dictator in Russia. Donald Trump, I don't know what Vladimir Putin has over him, but Jesus, I wish I knew what it was. Maybe I could get some money out of that boy.
No.
Donald Trump is so constipated now, he's turning orange. Maybe one of those drinks that you recommended.
The electrolytes. Yep. That's why I got to stay hydrated.
Yeah,
I got to stay regular.
Electrolyte will loosen his fat ass up. But anyway,
I think that I didn't hear a thing.
You're a warrior, Patti Vasquez. You are one of the warriors for liberty and justice, and continue the good work. I'm going to listen to you every day.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope I can meet you someday.
Well, I'm working on getting a comedy show so that we can travel to some places, and Seattle is top of my list.
That's great.
Yeah, me and comics like Joe Kilgallen, maybe Paul Farvar, Dwayne Kennedy. I'm going to find a way for us to get on the road and travel to some of the places where I know we've got listeners. I know we've got friendly audiences. We're not the Sexy Liberal Tour. I got to figure out a name for it. And I don't know that we're just going to do politics. I think that because I've always been a storyteller. My strength has never been, I do this. I don't necessarily do political humor. Like Lori Kilmartin, I would say, is similar to me, where we are very vocal about our politics, but on stage we're much more autobiographical. political, but I contend that my material talking about women's health, raising a child with a disability, being of a mixed background is political in nature. So,
it certainly is.
Yep.
I can't wait to catch your show. I hope you get out here. Stephanie Miller does a great show.
Yes, she
does.
It's
mostly political, but
yes.
Everything's political now. Let's face it.
Exactly. It's always great to hear from you, my friend. Victor, you have a good weekend to the best of your ability.
You too. Take care of yourself, young lady.
I will. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Adios.
Adios. I always love hearing from folks all over the country. We've got Irene in Hoffman Estates. Hi, Irene. Are you staying hydrated?
Hi, doing the best I can, Patty. How about you?
Yes, doing that 1,000%. Doing the best I can.
I don't want to take up a lot of your time, Patty, but I want to tell you that today there was a peaceful demonstration of over 100 people in Schaumburg in front of the Tesla dealership. And there were similar demonstrations across the country today, and protesting Elon Musk's involvement at the federal level, as well as recent policy changes. And in Schaumburg, we had over 100 people at the protest. There has been no media coverage of this at all.
Wow, I did not know about that. And I would, if you would do me a favor, like, where do you stay up to date on all the protests so we can know about this in the future? What groups are you part of?
It's indivisible, and I can sure. NWSOFA, indivisible.
Excellent. Well, do me a favor, too. If you ever feel, you can always call or text and say, hey, we're all going to be at this location with a peaceful protest, or we're encouraging folks. And please don't hesitate to reach out, because I can't stay on top of all of it. And folks have sent me some of the information. Like today, obviously, doing the economic blackout. I'm only shopping local with cash at businesses owned by people of color or LGBTQ, or all the people that Trump and MAGA and Elon and Doge bags want to marginalize and put their boots on our necks.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and there has been coverage for that part, but we were surprised to see no coverage for this. But I will certainly keep you informed in the future.
We all need to be. I appreciate that. You have a good weekend to the best of your ability, okay?
Hey, Patty, you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, tomorrow I'm heading up to Milwaukee. We're door knocking with Operation Swing State. You can go to Operation Swing State and find out more. It's Operation Swing State. I think it's .com. It looks like it's very tiny on the button. Operation Swing State. Adam Selzer and I will be driving up there, meeting Committeewoman Maggie O'Keefe and all the volunteers. I will say that it makes you feel like when you're surrounded by people who are doing the work, whether it's at a protest or door knocking or showing up to meetings, it definitely reminds you that we are not crazy. We are not alone. So, and also tuning in to WCPT helps. So you think, David, how are you doing tonight? Are you hydrating, David?
Yes. Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. What's on your mind?
I was recently in a restaurant, and a table full of people next to me were discussing the situation that's going on with the presidency and the vice president. And they were saying this calls for a nationwide boycott against Tesla.
Yep.
Anything that he sells to the public, and also against Trump's facilities.
Yeah, all the bills.
Nationwide. And one question was never asked, and I'm asking this question. Why don't they put a question out there? Why are these people leaving their countries and coming here and in Europe? Something must be really wrong where they were born to leave their country. And that's all I have to say, Patty.
Why are people? Yeah, and I think there's a wide range of reasons, whether it's economic or political. People who are escaping from persecution in their own countries. There's also an element of climate change that is driving people, because that changes the agriculture, it changes the access to jobs. And look, there's also places where we've gotten involved, and whether it's corporations that have bought up all the property and not done anything with them and not developed them. That's one of the things. I think it's in Venezuela, where the Dole Corporation, the fruit can, the canned fruit, they there's a lot of places like that around the world where these mega wealthy companies have kind of choked people off from opportunities, and we continue to be a place where people can find work. There's a lot of places that can't keep people employed, and having these raids and the threats of deportations is having a negative impact on the tax base. If that's what people want to worry about is revenue and how businesses do, there's certainly a lot of people who are suffering because of the threat and the execution of deportation raids.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling. It was good to hear from you. Have a lovely
welcome.
weekend. Okay? Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. And then Paul in Seattle is texting. Hi, Paul in Seattle. Please do not repeat the mainstream media line that it was a shouting. Yeah, I agree. You're right. Not a shouting match, because they were shouting at him. Zelensky was not shouting. I agree with that. And I appreciate the correction. I agree. He was he was trying to keep his composure while they were being absolute children and bullies. And like I said, to me, it reminded me of the emotional abuse. I've been in a domestic violence situation where, like nothing, you're just being treated like a child, being talked down to and yelled at. I appreciate that, Paul. If that's what I might have been reading from an article. So yes, that was repeating something from it was probably from Newsweek. Was that what I was reading? Yeah. So thank you for that. You're absolutely right on that. One listener from the 847, it seems like someone asked, is Elon pouring money into the Wisconsin races because he has emotional issues with his trans child, his trans daughter, which it might be, but I also think they want everything. And that's what I wrote, which is this sort of ideology that people like Curtis Yarvin have, that the democracy is destroyed. They basically want to cancel they want to cancel all elections. They want this country to be run like a corporation with a CEO. That we simply exist to serve the oligarchs. That our labor needs to be funneled to them, because we already are the amount of work that we put in compared to what the uber wealthy put in to reap that from us, to make us grateful to have a job. We're lucky to have health insurance with costs rising every single moment, like exorbitant costs to make sure that we can stay healthy and care for those that we love. They want everything. That's what I wrote. They want everything. They want to destroy our way of life and remind us that we serve them. It's not even feudalism. It's like technocratic. I don't know what someone gave me. There's these tech bros, sort of. It's not feudalism. I'll try to find the words in a piece that I wrote that someone corrected me on there too. See, always willing to be. Please, I'm doing the best I can every single day. But the listener also texted back, it seems like they want to return to a time where the so-called aristocracy control the peasantry. That's exactly what I think as well. And Jill, I want to hug you. Jill says, I'm sitting here free-form crocheting creatures and realize this is what I do when people are in the hospital. So unconsciously, my body, I think she's saying that I'm saying democracy is dead. This is what a lot of people are feeling today. Let's take a break here. I feel like I should say something pithy or funny, but we're all exhausted. I'm going to take another call when we come back here. Well, that was let me put that there. All right, folks, stay hydrated. I say that, by the way, the hydration thing, because the very least you can do is drink water and stay hydrated. It's a way to take care of yourself, especially considering the number of people who have mentioned booze so far in the last couple hours. So please alternate your beverages with some water. Just saying. Okay, more in a moment.
Out Chicago.
The media has been manipulated with propaganda and fear, and this is what has brought us where we are today. More than ever, people are looking at just one news source, and that's
what they're doing. They're looking at their phone.
Well, that's their source.
They are looking
that's their
at
source.
Yeah, I know. They are looking at their phone. They are hearing opinion. They're hearing misinformation. They are not looking at sources.
Catch Out Chicago every Sunday, 11 to 1 on WCPT 820.
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
There's one thing that I've learned as governor. There are no magic bean fixes.
And each year there's some difficulty that requires us to work hard to overcome it.
That's Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker delivering his State of the State address.
This year the surfacing difficulty is Donald Trump's and Elon Musk's plan to steal Illinois' tax dollars and deny our citizens the protection and the services that they need. I want to offer you a few examples. 20 million Americans, 700,000 of them here in Illinois, will lose health care coverage if congressional Republicans are successful in their effort to cut the Affordable Care Act. And rural hospitals across Illinois will be shuttered. Meals on Wheels programs, which home deliver 12 million meals per year to 100,000 seniors and people with disabilities in Illinois, are on the federal chopping block.
For WCPT 820 and Heartland Signal, I'm Andy Miles.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care. This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
As we head into the home stretch, I want to thank you all for calling, for texting, for tuning in, for joining the conversation. Please let your friends, people in your communities that you think might enjoy the show. That's often word of mouth is always a great way to grow our community. This was a crazy day. So I don't think I've ever talked about this on the air because it's been a while since it's happened to me. About 7 years ago, I woke up one day and like the whole room was spinning. I hadn't been, it wasn't like I was over consuming something. I wasn't hungover or anything. And I couldn't get it to, I felt like I was afraid I was having a stroke or an aneurysm. I couldn't stand up. Everything was flipping around and then it sort of straightened out for a little bit. And I went out with my day. I felt a little queasy. And then I went to bed that night, and the next day I rolled over on my left side, and I couldn't get it to stop. Everything was kind of flipping around. And I went to the doctor and found out that I have vertigo. I had vertigo, which is, if you're not familiar with this type of vertigo, it is like there's like the crystallization in your ear canal. And it's the weirdest thing to treat. So if you ever are in a situation where you wake up in the morning or at any point, and things, it's almost like movie-like. It's so, everything just starts to spin. And I think we actually have an ad on the station for people who do treatments for this. The thing about this is there actually is, oddly, something you can do. It's head positionally sort of doing these movements that move the crystals. So apparently today, I don't know what triggers it, but it came back. Actually started coming back 2 days ago. And I sort of ignored it because I was like, oh, maybe I just, got up too fast. You think, oh, I'm just kind of dizzy. And then last night I went to go lie down on my left side and everything started to spin. And you can Google it. You can Google head position movements for vertigo. And I think the one that I follow the most is there's a doctor out of Colorado. And this is where I thank God for social media content creators, because this, I should just look it up. But I do want to encourage anyone if this ever happens to you, because it is terrifying. Even though I know that I can treat it myself, for the most part, I still had this fear of like, what if I can't do it this time? What if I can't fit? I was so terrified. Because there was so much I had to do today, and I was able to use the movements and stabilize. But I got up and I was walking through my house like I was on a ship that was like in a storm. I was like holding onto the walls, and I'll tell you, I was able to treat it and to get on with my day. And yet, when this scream when I heard this exchange, when Trump and Vance started yelling at at President Zelensky, it was so weird. I was like, this feels just like my vertigo. Like everything feels upside down right now. And it was such a weird, unsettling day. It's terrifying. As I started the show talking about what I felt when not just watching this horrible and embarrassing isn't a strong enough word, because it's horrifying what happened, and we know that the rest of the world is now seeing us as a threat. As someone said, you couldn't really see Putin's hand moving Trump's mouth, but it was there. And that's how it felt. But when Joan was reading the responses from leaders around the world, I just, this despair, and I know a lot of us are feeling that way. And it's not out of our hands. There are, look, even this economic blackout today of not shopping for these, and we see it as, I know it's being talked about as the DEI, everyone that's rolling back their DEI. I see it as much more than that. I also want the rest of these corporations, I want Bezos to know beyond DEI that we are not going to comply, that we are paying attention. And so I think that's why these kinds of protests, as our friend Eileen was mentioning, the protests, the peaceful protests outside of Tesla, I think the Women's March next Saturday, these are all important ways that we can show up. There are things that we can continue to do. And the reason that I ask folks if they're hydrating, it's just one thing. It's, are you going for a walk? Are you meditating? And I'm guessing that my vertigo was triggered by stress. I imagine that I'm like tightening up, and that affected my ear canal. And I'm sure that I'm wearing my shoulders like earrings because I walk around like, and we also rely on things. I will be honest. I'll have a beverage, and I'll have a little vodka soda, just something simple. And I know that I shouldn't rely on that for relaxing my shoulders. So I'm trying to remind myself when I say, are you hydrating? It's also for me. I gave Lady B some packets of Element. I think it's spelled L-ament. It's sort of a goofy way to spell it. I always, whenever people try to be too clever about spelling their product, I'm always like, but it's really good. Doesn't it taste like a little, like almost like a sweet margarita, because it's got the salt in it. So it's electrolytes, and it's sodium and potassium, because we do need to stay high. It helps your body process so much of what we're doing to ourselves, whether it's eating or drinking. So I ask that because it's partly to remind yourself to take care of yourself. And I don't ask people how they are. I'm trying not to ask folks how they are. It's still a habit, but I just need you to. I know that we can't always. Say that we're doing well or doing great. People who say I'm doing great, I don't know if I trust you anymore. Let's see. Jill was. Jill says she's also had vertigo. I've had it twice. It's the hours of the world spinning, and had it minor this week. So yeah. So you're able to close your eyes until the spinning stops. Yeah. I immediately once it starts to go, I can't get it to stop unless I do these movements. The E708 says, Patty, I wouldn't say democracy is dead. I would like to say it's in the ER and currently getting needed emergency attention. Well, here's the thing. What we are going to need, what we absolutely need, is someone from the inside, whether it's one of the Doge bros, or whether it's some of the Republicans who see this moment as very precarious, dangerous, actually, and do something to. I will take a Republican hero any day. I don't care who it is. It's got to be somebody who slows the brakes on the direction we're heading. I'm trying to find the video for the at-home treatment. It was, like I said, it's like a Colorado doctor. Oh, there's so many videos on vertigo treatments, but it's the one where you're kneeling and you look. Oh, yeah, here she is. I got it. It's University of Colorado is the name of it's vertigo treatment, how to treat vertigo. And if you see University of Colorado, Auschwitz medical campus, that's the video. But she does a very long explanation as to why it's happening, and then does the treatment. And it's basically, it's really goofy, but it's worked for me every single time. So it's vertigo treatment, how to treat Auschwitz. I can't pronounce the campus name, but that's just one of the places you can go. And if you Google, let me get to Rachel before we go for the night. Rachel, what's on your mind, my friend?
Yes. Hello, good evening, and everybody. Just real briefly, that today between the and especially J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
He really got in nasty. Just really hurt my heart.
Yes.
The world sees that America is no longer the leader of the free world, and just an embarrassment. And I just fear that we're going to need Europe. We're going to need those allies. Next big catastrophic event happens.
Yep.
We're going to need to exchange information and intel. And I'm afraid that we're going to be on an island. And that's it.
Yep.
It's just painful. But I'm going to keep up my boycotts. I'm not shopping.
Me too.
I'm not,
Yep.
That's why we got to hit them. We got to hit them.
Let's get it.
I would suggest maybe even if we had a walk out there. I know nobody can afford not to work. But I'm just saying.
I think it's a good idea, too.
Whatever we should do.
Yep. Yes.
We got to do it and let them know and get in their face and let them know we don't like what you guys did. We don't like how you're bending the Trump, and this is wrong. And we're not taking it.
We're not taking it. Rachel, I love you. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Stay hydrated. Thank you to Source Solar for making these conversations possible so we can hear people like Rachel. Thank you, Lady B. Randy Rhodes is up next, followed by Matt McNeil. Also, tune in right now to Whiskey and a Cookie. Bye, everyone.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered